Just a tad. Scooch over just a tad. See if any do come through. We're just going to start rolling a little bit different today. I'm just kind of waiting. Usually I have a little intro that comes in. We're just scrapping that. All right, we're going to start something new. All right. Taking the hourglass, which is technically not an hour, but we are turning it over. Got the American flag here. You can see Mr. Bigglesworth is in the back. And we're going to just start it off with this. Let me actually take this off. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's dive into it, everyone. All right, a little bit different theme today. This is Evolution. I am your host, Brandon Fogel. We're going to just dive into it's going to be a different flow than it used to be. It used to be just kind of me like a robot, but it's not. I'm going to try not to do that anymore. I'm going to try to be different, try to grow in my abilities right before your eyes. We're going to take a look at the Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson saga that started this summer back in probably about August, end of July, and has culminated in last week. Tucker brought Nick Fuentes on his show, which has just received enormous backlash from everyone. And I know everyone out there is, a lot of people haven't picked a side. A lot of people are kind of just indifferent. They're not in tune with what's going on. But some people are. And I know I'm going to say a lot of things that tick everyone off. I'm going to say things because I am not lockstep with anyone. I'm not lockstep with Trump. I'm not lockstep with Israel. I'm not lockstep with Tucker. I'm not lockstep with Nick. I'm going to just say what I think. And as the show is Evolution, we evolve. We evolve in our mindset. I don't believe in the whole we evolved from monkeys and everything like that we came from the primordial soup. But I do believe that our opinions change. Our mindset shifts. We don't believe the same thing that we believed yesterday. We are constantly evolving in our views and opinions as anyone that's out there. You're not the same person that you are today as you were yesterday, or vice versa. I'm just going to say what I think and mean what I say and say what I think, and I'm not going to filter things as much as I tend to do in regular life. I don't know about you, if you're out there and you just filter everything. I am the ultimate filter board where everything that I say, I can't even have a conversation sometimes with regular people because I'm thinking about 3 lines that I would say ahead of time. And I've missed the point. I've missed the thing. I haven't said what was on my mind, what I really believed, because I don't want to shake people up. I don't want to offend them. I don't want them to look at me differently than I perceive and think that they should look at me, And everybody's different. Everybody is growing in their whole structure. That is in this world right now. Where you're at right now, you're there for a reason. You're there for a reason, and you're trying to just figure it out. Because I know I've been offline probably for about over a month now, and not much has happened, right? I mean, nothing's really been happening, right, in this world. I think 2025 has been the craziest year that I've ever experienced. And I was not expecting, when we started going into 2025 last year, I thought, man, we're going up, baby. Up, 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 everything's going to be perfect and amazing and nothing's going to go bad. Nothing could go wrong. But I want to bring it into the whole, because what has been on my mind and what I've kind of been glued into, locked into, has been Nick Fuentes probably since this summer, and he would say it's his what does he call it? His generational run, which I still don't understand. He says it every time and he explains it to people. You could say, and I've seen before, we are living in cancel culture, and cancel culture for Nick Fuentes has been next level, and it's been from both sides. I don't agree with everything that he says. I agree with a lot of what he says in certain aspects of it, and you got to be very nuanced in explaining things. I don't agree with everything he says, and the way he says it, but he is saying a lot of things right. And that's why I think even from the right, he has been so canceled. And his cancellation has come primarily from the right side of the political structure. That's where it's come from. It hasn't come from the right used the left to remove Nick. And he was off the map for the last probably like 4 or 5 years. And he's very young himself, but now he's being unleashed onto the public. And it climaxed in the Tucker Carlson interview that happened last week. And everyone saw him. I know he's been out there, and you can find him on Rumble. That's the place where you're going to find him, because pretty much he's off of YouTube. He can't be on YouTube himself. He can't run a show on YouTube or pretty much most things that are out there, Spotify. He can't run accounts himself on Instagram, on TikTok, on just mainstream platforms, because he's been silenced. He's been silenced. And I always get hesitant, because I know once I start talking about this and talking about him, because people will be cheering on, yeah. And then you say something wrong. You say that doesn't go align with everything that you believe in him or with anybody. And then you're like, oh, I'm tied to this person and to this idea, you know? And if you say anything that crosses that, I'm not going to be open-minded and at least hear you out. He's got this whole mob that follows him, that is what is called the Groypers. The Groypers are out there, and they are tenacious as hell. They will come at you and destroy you. And when he had this conversation with Andrew Tate this summer, it was probably maybe August or so, I could see Andrew Tate, who is this like guy who's like a man's man, macho man. I could see it in his eyes that he was scared to say certain things. He didn't want this onslaught of this group, this following that will try to destroy you. So now we got so many things lined up. Tucker put himself in a lot of hot water by using his platform to platform Nick and bring him on there. And everybody is saying cancel and remove Tucker. But Tucker did the right thing. He did the right thing by bringing him on there. If you're ever on this side where we need to burn books, or we need to say you can't speak about this person or you can't speak about this idea, I think you're in wrong territory. Even if you're Israel, which I am, I support Israel, but I am America first. I'm America first because of my position in life. I was born into this nation. I'm a Gentile. I'm not Jewish. I believe I believe we can fundamentally support the nation that we are a part of and that we are born into. This is our birthright. So there is this hyper obsession about I would see from Nick's eyes, he sees everything through this lens, this prism of Israel. Jews are behind everything, which I would say always. I've said this repeatedly. Yes, they are. I see it now. I didn't always see it. I didn't view everything through that lens. I thought Israel was just obscure and nobody talked about them. We learned about them in Sunday school and talking about them going to church, and reading the Bible. But now it's like they are behind every conspiracy. And I guess this has been going on for years, I guess. People have this mindset of, because they are the gift that keeps on giving. If you're talking Israel, there's something new every day under the sun. There's something new and fresh, and some other conspiracy thing, something else that's, the Jews are behind it. The Jews did it. They did everything. They're behind every nefarious act in this world. It's the Jews or Israel. And you have to have that distinction between Israel and the Jews, and even Bible-believing Christians, a lot of them out there, they don't see the nation that we see as Israel that is in this world right now as the same nation of the Bible. I would say it is, but I'm not saying that they're perfect. They have never been perfect. And if you want to see a record of their imperfection, you would go to the whole Bible. And it culminated in them sending Jesus Christ, their Messiah, to the cross. But every prophet, every person of God was just excoriated and brutally beaten and just talked about evilly from pretty much Moses until Jesus, and you could say even today, if you're representing Jesus, people within Israel, they have not accepted him. They have not embraced him. So they're still speaking, they're saying Jesus is not the Christ. That is the spirit of Antichrist. But it does not change their position, they're still there, But I wanted to primarily talk about with Tucker Carlson and where do we go from here? Where does Tucker go from here? I don't think he's too worried about it. And in this culture, if you are a person that has tried to be canceled, if people want to cancel you, you're in good territory and you're probably going to blow up and become a household name eventually, and the perfect example of that is Nick Fuentes. Canceling people only adds eventually fuel to their fire. They could crumble, and give up, and just go into the, never come out of the wilderness and never come out and tell people what they really believe and just kind of just melt and go into obscurity. Or they could rise. It could be something that just causes them to rise. And I don't think Tucker's going to have any problem. He's not a person that worries about people's opinions. And I think you have to not worry about people's opinions and thoughts and anything that they're saying about you to survive. But it's coming from both sides. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to look at, I'm just going to kind of bounce around, this is, even you can see, I'm going to scan down here a little bit. It's coming from, it's an equal opportunity destroying effect. He is being like very prominent people. You could say Charlie Kirk till his last day on this earth, he was not in favor of Nick Fuentes. He never was. And that's why I was actually very startled and the best. I wanted to see the debate. Everyone wanted to see the debate, or maybe it doesn't have to. I think we're growing. We're putting up our big boy pants. We don't need to have debate over everything. We can just talk things out. I think debates themselves, it's fun to say that word because you want to see one person's view, a clash with somebody else's, but just a conversation and talking to them, which it surprised me that all those years. And I think eventually Charlie Kirk would have had a conversation with Nick Fuentes. He would have, if his life wasn't tragically ended far too soon. But him dying has now made the opportunity for Nick to rise. And I think I just saw Brandon Tatum the other day. He tweeted out at Nick, they're going back and forth, everything. And Brandon Tatum says, you're going to be what is it, a light in the pan, or I don't even know, something, a flash in the pan, but you're going to be irrelevant in a year or two, which, I mean, I doubt that. And for better or for worse, Nick Fuentes is here. There are so many things, and I'm going to say what I think. Him having this attack of the Jews or the attack of Israel and everything about that, I don't think that ends well. It might be a flash in the pan and for so many years, but overall, the tides of history and just everything about Israel, they come out on top. And it's because they have that unique position as God's people. They are in rejection of Jesus, but they're still his people. They have a unique covenant relationship with God. And that's why you could say there's been flashes of, I just think of people throughout history, Hitler tried to destroy the Jews, that I guess that's becoming debatable to certain people. And the Holocaust and being a Holocaust denial is now becoming normal. And I honestly, I probably just learned what we learned in school and watched what we've seen in movies, but there's Holocausts that are happening all the time. Christians, just every type of people group across the world, and Jews are no different. They experienced something that was vitriol, and there is a difference between people that's why I'm going to say this Haman, I think it's his name Haman from the book of Esther, that the spirit that just does not, that if you start seeing Jews as evil because they're Jews, you've went too far. I think we can question Israel and our relationship as the United States of America with Israel without going to, we need to destroy the Jews. And I think that's where you have to be very nuanced with, which Nick, I think he is, but people know him by clips. They see clips of him saying the craziest, sometimes it seems evil. And I think that Tucker bringing him on just kind of opened him up to the onslaught of what Nick Fuentes has experienced for the last 6 years. There's so much that we could talk about this and so much we could get into, but I just wanted to start afresh with this, and we're gonna change this up a little bit, the way that I do this every day. But my name is Brandon Fogel. This is Evolution. Subscribe, share with everyone, and watch this next video that pops up. That we all that good stuff that everyone knows that happens every day. Switch back a little bit, and I will have the American flag here because this is American first. I believe in American first because because who I am. And I think everyone out there, I think if we get in that mindset, but I think we should use our energy to having Israel, using them. If you're saying they were going to use us for everything bad and for their purposes, why don't we use them for our purposes? Not just say, get out of here, go back to Israel, We can glean the good from everything, Let's just have open minds, open hearts, and just speak what we think. All right, we'll leave it at that. Have a good day.
I could see the cracks form in the paint, growing like a fire. What do I say? Can you see them?